What's up, guys, and welcome to another edition of the Swinging Sunday Scan. Recording this Sunday night, April the 10th, 2022. Let's jump right in, but before we do, please, if any of this content helps you in any way, please do me a favor and click that like button. If you want to see more content like this in the future, hit subscribe. If you click the bell, you'll get notifications anytime I put out new content. Looking at last week's Sunday Scan, we are looking at hopefully a reversal in this area around this 4,600 area, and it looks like we are getting somewhat of a pullback. However, it's been pretty choppy. You can see here on April the 4th, we had a full green day, which looked like we were taking just a small breather and we were going to rally past this pivot here and just continue higher. Even on this green day here on April the 7th, it really did look like the market just didn't want to give it up and head back down to the downside. So I'm really not trusting that the market is looking bearish here at the moment, but I'm going to stick to the plan that we mentioned last week, which was, as this is coming down, we're seeing here that there's a cluster of all the moving averages, both the 21, the 50, and the 200 period moving averages are all kind of clustering in this one area. So at this moment, I would say it's a good time to start looking at longs. In fact, I would say it'd be a good time to look at longs from here anywhere all the way down to this support level down here. So the trick is, how do we time it? Well, I think my plan will be, currently I'm open 2 shorts and I have 1 long. If the opportunity arises, I would like to add 1 short at maybe 3 key levels. 1 being right now at this current level, 1 being Fibonacci level from this pivot up to here, which would put us closer to the 4,300 mark. Or if we get a deep and smooth retracement all the way back down to the support level around 4,100, I'd be looking at adding another long there. Now, that's not to say that this will retrace all the way down here. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm preparing for a bounce and at any one of those 3 areas with the continuation to the upside. If we get a bounce next week up back into this area here, I might add on some more shorts to play off a possible double top and a continuation back to the downside. But right now, I'm just going to continue looking at key levels and adding in trades, timing it with the market the best I can. Last week I was mentioning some trades I was in. MODV, this one I exited taking about a half-hour loss. CPRT, we took a full loss. BPMC, I took 2 losses on this one. I really loved the look of this chart, how every time we kind of broke above the moving averages here and here, we saw a big tank down to the downside. I was really expecting that maybe with some momentum to the downside with the market, we were going to see a similar move, and we just didn't get it. So 2R loss here. ARW saw a sweet move to the downside, taking a full target here. MCD, we were stocking this one for a while, looking for a potential bounce into this area, and we got it, so I had to take a chance. Unfortunately, this one shook us out and took a full R loss. RBA, we are currently open. TALO really started off really shaky, but this one has gained some momentum and is heading into this pivot resistance area here of $19. I took half profit on this one going into Friday evening after hours. I really felt like that was the right move since we were heading into resistance and we're also getting close to earnings. I didn't want to risk losing a full 3-hour swing, so I locked in some profits going into the weekend. And finally, the last open trade is EXTR. This one we have earnings coming up in a couple weeks, so we'll have to watch this one close and close it out if we get a good move, or hopefully it'll take us all the way to target. Since the theme this week is looking at adding on longs, since we're looking at a potential bounce in the market, all these ideas are longs with the exception of one. First idea, ATSG. Earnings is coming up. This is a pretty deep retracement, but we are heading into a bunch of areas of support. So this one maybe a good candidate. KEN, this one has been in a pretty serious uptrend for many months. We are now taking a pretty deep retracement into, again, a support area. This one looks pretty decent. CMRE, this one's kind of choppy and sloppy and looks like a great candidate to get shaken out, but an idea nonetheless. We're pretty close to earnings, so I'm probably going to ignore this one, but it is an idea nonetheless. RMBS, this one has retraced pretty deep and this move is pretty fierce, so I would probably not look at this one as a decent idea, but if someone was brave enough to try to time a bounce with this one for a quick move to the upside, could be something to look at. TRN, another one retracing to a support area, but again, however, earnings is pretty close, so another tough one to gauge whether it's even worth risking, since you would need a pretty fierce move to get full 2 to 3R on this one. UNP, also really close to earnings, but again, could be a decent one to look at for a possible quick bounce. GBX, this one we just cleared earnings. This one has some pretty wide red bars in its history, and the green bars look kind of choppy and just kind of grinding higher. Looking at the weekly here, this has been going sideways for quite a while. Is this trying to break out over this $50 psychological number and has just experienced maybe a breakout failure and is going to get caught, bought up by a bunch of the buyers and grind back up towards that area? Who knows? Here's a fun one. AMC, meme stock. Not a fan of trading stocks like this, but the pattern looks okay. If you're not familiar with meme stocks, before you trade this, I recommend you do some research there because they have a very wild history and trade very similar to penny stocks. If you don't have any knowledge of penny stocks, I would maybe just steer clear of this one altogether because it's this one doesn't trade like most other stocks on the market. So just beware, this one is probably not what I'm going to trade, but it was an idea that looked pretty decent from a pattern standpoint in terms of how it retraced to this support level here. But again, beware earnings coming up. LAC, not a great pattern, but again, retracing to kind of a support level here around this $40 area. If this put in some narrow range bars, I mean, this could look like a decent candidate. The battery EV sector is kind of heating up a bit, so this falls into that category. But again, super choppy and not really a great looking chart. This is a TSX stock. And the last one for the short side, POST. This one is heading into a 200 period moving average, this yellow line here. We have earnings, but this pattern looks pretty decent. And overall, this one has been more or less trending lower. On the weekly, we have a high here, a low here, a lower high here, a lower low here, and right now we're kind of looking like we're possibly putting in another lower high here. So looks like a decent idea to look at. That's it, guys. Thanks for sticking through to the end. If any of this content helped you out in any way, please hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this in the future, hit subscribe, hit the bell if you want to get notifications anytime I put out new content. Thank you so much, guys. Please trade safe, stick to your plan. We'll catch you on the next one.